Welcome to The Critique. Today we're looking at a semantic endpoint protection firewall policy. The user has placed a block all statement right at the very top of the rule list.
Yeah, that's a bold move. It's one that, unfortunately, results in a total blackout. So let's get into why that logic doesn't quite work.
Okay, so first up, placing a generic block all rule at position number 1 fundamentally breaks the logic of SEP's sequential rule processing.
It really does. The weakness here is a basic misunderstanding of the first match principle. The SEP firewall reads rules from the top down, and it stops the second it finds a match.
And block all matches everything.
Exactly. Now, to be clear, you can have specific block rules at the top, like blocking a known malicious IP address, great. But a generic block all matches every single packet, so the firewall stops right there.
It never even sees the allow rules further down.
Never gets to them. So the suggestion is to adopt a least privilege hierarchy. That block all rule should be a cleanup tool at the very bottom, not a gatekeeper at the top.
So you're flipping the logic.
Completely. A good example would be reordering your rule set like this. First, rules that block specific high-risk things, like ports 135 or 445. Then, second, you put your rules that allow specific business traffic, HTTP, your VPN connection.
And then the block all.
And then, number 3, at the very end, that block all other traffic rule sits at the bottom to catch whatever is left.
Okay, that makes sense. Moving on to the network side of things. To effectively prevent split tunneling without just cutting off all connectivity, that block all rule has to work with adapter-specific settings?
Yeah, and the weakness in the submitted policy is that it tries to block traffic globally before defining what's allowed.
So the firewall has no context.
Right. It can't distinguish between traffic that should be going through the VPN tunnel and traffic trying to use the physical adapters. So everything just gets dropped.
The suggestion then is to configure the allow rules so they only apply to the VPN adapter?
Exactly. And you let that final block all rule we talked about catch any traffic on the physical adapters.
How would that look in practice?
Well, you'd go into your allow rules and modify them to target the specific VPN adapter name, instead of just leaving it on the default all adapters.
Got it.
Then you make sure that block all other traffic rule at the bottom is enabled. That setup effectively drops any traffic trying to sneak out through the Ethernet or Wi-Fi. That's how you stop split tunneling.
Okay, final point. Let's talk domain names. Using domain names in firewall rules requires enabling some specific lookup settings that are turned off by default.
And this is a common trip-up. The weakness is simple. If your policy has rules based on DNS domains instead of IP addresses, they're just going to fail.
Because the firewall isn't checking.
It's not. It doesn't automatically resolve an IP back to a domain name to see if it matches a rule.
So the fix is to go into the built-in rules settings and turn on Enable Reverse DNS Lookup. But you should probably prioritize IPs anyway to avoid performance hits, right?
Precisely. If you have a rule that blocks, say, a specific domain name, you absolutely have to check that Enable Reverse DNS Lookup box. Otherwise, the rule is useless.
And the performance issue?
Just be aware that if your DNS servers are slow to respond, it's going to cause noticeable network lag for the user. So IP addresses are almost always better if you can use them.
All right, so to recap the whole thing, that block all rule has to move to the bottom. It has to.
Yeah, that's the main takeaway. Reorder your hierarchy. Make it specific blocks first, then specific allows, and then the global block all at the very end.
And only turn on reverse DNS if you're really stuck using domain-based rules.
Exactly.
Please submit the reordered rule set for a final check. Thanks for listening to this critique.